There are 3 things the Naruto community loves doing. Number 1, lack media literacy. Number 2, hate women. And number 3, criminally underrate Shino, which is insane. Many fans of the series know him as one of the only characters that's undefeated. But in the same conversation, many will still point out the small sample size and the fact that even though he's never lost, he also hasn't always won. So even with this insane stat, people still continue to underrate this man. Naruto databooks rank Shino as a 3.5 in ninjutsu, 1.5 in taijutsu, 2 in genjutsu, 3.5 in intelligence, 1.5 in strength, 2 in speed, 2 in stamina, and 2 in hand signs, making him an 18.5 overall. And since Chunin level is widely considered to be 19 to 29 overall, that would mean Shino is upper Genin level and one of the biggest examples of why databook rankings are stupid and should be taken with a huge grain of salt. Cause when you take into account his fights, his bugs, and who he can beat, this ranking makes no sense and is damn near slander. In OG Naruto, Shino fights 2 people, Zaku and Kankuro. Let's bring up their databook rankings and compare them. Zaku's databook ranking is a 14 overall, making him mid-Genin level in strength, and Kankuro ranks as a 19 overall in the first databook. You might be wondering why I'm using Kankuro's first databook rankings here. After all, the second databook covers chapters 120 to 244, meaning that Shino vs Kankuro would fall into it. The answer is simple though. After his fight with Shino, Kankuro got stronger, and Databook 2 also captures his fight against Sokka on Nanookon. And I think the second Databook is being more faithful to his Sasuke recovery era rather than his Chunin exams one. But Databook 1 only has his Chunin exams era to base him on, making it more accurate for the conversation. From this point going forward, I want to establish that the Databook sees Shino as upper Genin level. It'll be on the top right of the screen for reference. Contrary to Shino's, I think both these rankings for Zaku and Kankuro are fairly accurate. Kankuro does feel like low Chunin level during the Chunin exams, and Zaku feels like mid-Genin level. And when looking at these databook rankings, Shino's win-loss record makes perfect sense. He beat the character with a lower overall, and tied with the character whose overall is only half a point higher than his. But in these rankings, you see the first instance of him being underrated for no real reason. For starters, let's look at his fight with Zaku, the first ever time we see him fight and see what he's about. Like I said earlier, off the rankings alone, it makes perfect sense he won. I won't be arguing that. It's not like it's impossible for a 14 overall to be an 18.5 overall, but it's not necessarily plausible. And I don't think anyone's blaming Zaku for losing here. His ranking says he's mid-Genin level, and Shino says he's high Genin level. But he got beat badly. And isn't it at least like a little weird that a mid-Genin level is getting his shit rocked by a high Genin level? Obviously, I'm a little biased here, I'm the one making the video, but I don't think that's necessarily biased. This wasn't even close. There's no way that the gap from mid-Genin level to high Genin level makes a fight this uncompetitive. With that being said, if you were to say that mid-Genin level versus Chunin level results in this kind of beating, I think that makes sense. The Chunin exams really frame Chunin level to be miles above Genin level, so I think it'd be more fair to say that Shino is Chunin level in this fight, which is sort of backed up by his fight with Kankuro, as Shino, an 18.5 overall, tied against Kankuro, a 19 overall. And objectively, if Shino tied against a 19 overall, that would make him a 19 overall. And since 19 overall is widely considered to be Chunin level, that means Shino would have also been Chunin level, not upper Genin level. Naruto fights are very matchup dependent, of course. A weaker opponent could theoretically beat, or in this case tie, against an opponent stronger than them just because of circumstances, which is the very reason I said a 14 overall could be an 18.5 overall, but Shino's matchups were both stacked up against him. We'll start again with Zaku because, again, it was his first fight. Zaku had a strong close range and a decent far range. And if you remember the databook rankings, Shino had a 1.5 in taijutsu and 2 in speed. So he's not really the best at close range combat, meaning that all Zaku had to do is get close and, oh wait, that happened. Whatever, doesn't matter. He still has good far range, so as long as he shoots from afar, he'll do fine. Oh, wait, that didn't work either. You see the point I'm making, right? Zaku had the advantage here if he was close up or far away, and Shino still had Zaku shit ate. To be transparent, for Kankuro it's a little more even. Both characters were fairly weak in close range. In fact, their databook rankings give them both a 1.5 in taijutsu and 2 in speed. And their far range techniques are both pretty similar. They control it, and if it reaches their opponent, it's pretty much cooked. But I still think it's fair to say that Kankuro has the advantage in this fight, because his puppet is very in your face and essentially wears close range against Shino, meaning that Shino had to constantly be dodging it. And while yeah, all Shino had to do was focus on dodging since his bugs don't need to be manually controlled, he's still weak in close range combat and still had to get close to Kankuro for his plan to actually work. You could probably make even more of a case for Shino being underrated if you brought up Zaku and Kankuro's other fights. Like for example, Zaku vs Curse Mark Sasuke or Kankuro vs Sokka on a Nukon. Especially that Kankuro fight actually, because Shino washes both Sokka on a Nukon. But that whole conversation involves power scaling and I won't be doing that in this video. At least not that type of power scaling. After all, I don't make those videos for a reason. No offense to anyone who enjoys or even makes power scaling videos, but I don't think they paint an accurate portrayal of strength. I'll bring this up later in the video, but just because an opponent beats someone, it doesn't mean they're stronger. Matchups are everything. Kishimoto wouldn't have made such a big deal about nature types if this wasn't the case. A little bit ago, I made a video ranking all the members of the Konoha 12 based off strength, and in that video, Shino ranked 5th strongest out of 12. Only being beat by Neji, Lee, Sasuke, and the guy the series is named after, meaning he beat characters like Kiba, Choji, and Shikamaru. Shikamaru is objectively Chunin level, and if Shino is stronger than a Chunin level ninja, that would also make him Chunin level in strength, making it further proof that he isn't this fuck-ass high Genin level. I know it seems weird to quote my own video as proof, but I think Shino being stronger than Shikamaru is something we can just kind of universally agree on. Shikamaru became Chunin purely because his big ol' 5 head, and honestly, I think if Shino was just as important as him, he would as well. Shino himself is pretty clever, and his bugs are so overpowered he literally couldn't go on the Sasuke recovery mission, but because he isn't necessarily important to the story, he didn't immediately become Chunin, and in doing so, he's become massively underrated. According to one of the comments on my Ranking the Konoha 12 video, ChatGPT had Shino weaker than Choji, Shikamaru, and Sakura. And since ChatGPT just compiles public opinion and then makes sure it's biased towards you, I think it's almost proof to why I'm making this video. Like, how is this man weaker than Sakura? He gets just as many fights as her. They have the same sample size. They fight the same character and have drastically different results. I know it's stupid to take anything ChatGPT says at face value. This thing is a joke and is dumb as rocks. But like, at least rocks don't slander the GOAT. Do you want to know what this man's bugs can do? Do you really want me to do this? I'm going to, it's my video. Shino's bugs are very simple in concept. They eat the chakra of his opponent and live inside him. But because of that, they can be used in many clever ways, and Shino shows that throughout both of his fights. Against Zaku, he exploits how small they are yet how effective they are in numbers by using them to block up his wind holes, making him destroy his own arms. During his fight with Kankuro, he uses the male beetle's ability to sense the female beetle to track Kankuro, effectively finding him and ambushing him with a bunch of bugs. It should be noted that if Shino's bugs reach his opponent, he pretty much just wins. Whoever he's fighting has to be constantly aware of them and avoid them at all costs. And if they don't, the bugs will just eat their chakra in like a minute. And you know how overpowered that is? It pretty much makes it dangerous to get close to Shino while also making it dangerous to be far away. If they're close, he can just jump his opponent with a bunch of them. And if they're far away, the bugs might just creep up on them. And again, if they get to his opponent, they're boned. Their chakra is gone in a minute and they die. That is so insane, but you're gonna tell me this guy's Genin level in strength? You know which characters he would beat? I'll list them off. Haku, every single one of the Sound Ninja 5 besides Kimimaro, Dosu, he'd probably slime out Inari too, he's that annoying. The average databook ranking of those characters is a 22.5. And that's me rounding down. It's more like a 22.78, which would round up to a 23. But this man's an 18.5 overall. Are we trolling? What kind of fucking crack are we smoking for that ranking? And while on the surface, I know this doesn't seem like a huge amount of people, it really is when you add in the Konoha 12 point I made earlier, plus his other fights. When you add all of that, it means he beat 16 out of the 23 relevant non-adult ninja in OG Naruto. And you want to know the characters he doesn't beat? Gaara, Temari, Sasuke, Naruto, Neji, Lee, and Kimimaro. That is it. Those are the strongest non-adult characters in the series. The only character that Shino beats that's near their level is Haku, but even that's arguable. And if the average ranking of people I chose was a 23, that would mean he potentially could be closer to a 23, making him not low Chunin level, but low mid Chunin level. What a difference. To make it clear, I understand why the databook rankings don't take into account any of this. Those matchups are purely hypothetical. So just cause it would happen, doesn't mean the databook ranking should act like it actually did. Not to mention, this is using power scaling, and thus doesn't give a true accurate portrayal of his strength. The only accurate portrayal we have is the one we see in his fight against Zaku and Kankuro. Those fights show what his strength is in the series. The only thing the power scaling was doing was showing what his potential could be. And you know what? He is the potential man of Naruto, can we just say it? What do you mean it's Rock Lee? That's not even close. Fucking I'm So Wavy of Reddit had a vision. At the start of this video, we established that the Naruto databook ranks Shino as a high Genin. By the end of it, we've proven that he's at the very least low Chunin, and low mid Chunin if we're pushing it. At the highest, the databook rankings are underrating him by 4.5 points. And at the very least, they're underrating him by 0.5. And no matter what, that means he's being underrated heavily. The jump from Genin to Chunin seems big in the series, and the jump from Genin to mid-low Chunin is insane. I personally believe he's more of a 19, me calling him a 23 overall was kind of a joke. But again, that still makes him insanely underrated, and no one slanders my GOAT like that. Especially if their bugs are like if Naruto had a Gario. Like I said at the start of the video, I think Shino's a great example of how databooks aren't really great for defining what level a character is or how strong they are. If anything, they're reinforcement, not the driving force of a point. And I honestly think the best way to define strength is to watch or read the series. What you see is 10 times more important than random stats Kishimoto probably wasn't putting too much thought into. After all, this man's a mangaka. I don't think he really cares about any of these stats at the end of the day. And you shouldn't either, unless you're trying to prove a point about a cartoon on the internet. If you want to support me more than just watching this video, then you can become a member on Patreon. And yeah, future me will put on screen if I like the Dr. Stone finale or not. Who knows?